All right, folks, you are listening to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live from Judea, Jerusalem, Hebron, and the land of blessings, the Holy Land, and it's reaching out to you wherever you are. So shalom, and welcome to the Land of Israel Network as well, our great network. And we have on the show today Rabbi Mike Feuer. He's here for a great half, and Malkah Fleisher for a fabulous and funny half. It's all here, but we're going to start the show a little bit differently today, and this is a tribute to my good friend Rabbi Ari Abramowitz, who is the co-founder of the Land of Israel Network. And he asked me to start the show this week by doing the my take on the purchase of the Marat HaMachpelah, the negotiation for Marat HaMachpelah, for the tomb of the fathers and mothers in Hebron, between Abraham and the Hittites, and especially Ephron the Hittite. And he asked me to kind of do my thing, so this is a tribute to him. And then we're going to go to Rabbi Mike Feuer for the continuation of the Torah portion, and then to Malkah Fleisher for the issues of the day and for some laughs. So that's the makeup of the show. And we're talking about a special Torah portion for me, given that I work in Hebron. I have the great merit, the great zchut to work in Hebron, where the tombs of the fathers and mothers are. And that all begins in this week's Torah portion. And therefore, we also have in the country a humongous festival. I like to call it Woodstock meets the Bible. And that is this giant festival called Chayei Sarah Shabbat in Hebron. And it's all so that people could hear and read the Torah portion, which bespeaks of that purchase right at the place where it took place originally and where the land was bought in perpetuity for the Jewish people. So here we go, chapter 23 of the book of Genesis, Perek Chav Gimel, Chayei Sarah, Bereshit. And the story starts out that Sarah passes away. And it says that the years were 127 years. There's a lot of commentary on that she lived a full life and that she was, beautiful. A lot of commentary there, but that's not what I want to get to today. It says, V'tamat Sarah b'Kiryat Arba Hebron. Sarah passed away in Kiryat Arba. It's Hebron, Beretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. V'yavo Avram lispod Sarah v'livkota. Abraham came to eulogize Sarah and to cry for her. Vayakam Avram ma'al pnei meto. Now Abraham gets up from before his dead, so we understand here that his dead may be laying before him right there. There's a body there. That's an important kind of thing to understand when you're setting up the scene. There's a body there in Hebron, and then there's Abraham, this very important person. Vaydaber el bnei chet le'emor, and he said to the Hittites, or the children of the Hittites, thusly, Ger v'toshav anochi imachem, I am a sojourner with you. Let me have a burial plot with you, and I shall bury my dead from before me. Meaning to say, look, right here is my dead, and help me take care of this problem, this pain that I have right now. So there's an urgency in the air. Now they answered him saying, so the way the verse lays it out is already that there's this formal, he said to them a request, and then they started answering him. There's something formalistic and ritualistic about this discourse, right? And they said to him, Sham'einu Adoni, you listen to us, sir. And pay attention to this word listen. This word listen is a recurring word. Listen to us, sir. Sham'einu Adoni. Nasi Elokim ata betochenu. You are a prince of God amongst us. B'mifchar kivreinu kvoret metecha. Pick the choicest of our burial plots to bury your dead. Ish mimeno et kivro lo yichle mimcha. None of us will stop from giving. None of us will stop. Will not give you our best grave. Mikbo metecha, so you can bury your dead. Okay, so they are giving him what's called a gesture. Okay, they're giving him a Middle East gesture. None of us is going to stop it. Please, sir, you're an important person. We respect you. Take from our best. So how does Abraham respond? How does Avraham respond? Vayakam Avraham v'ishtachu la'am ha'aretz levnei chet. Abraham got up and prostrated himself, bowed down before the Hittites, the people of the land. So this is an important person, and he's bowing down to them. Also a gesture. And there's also pace here. There's a meter. The meter isn't fast. It's slow. He makes a request. They say, listen. They make their counter. He bows down to them. And he said to them thusly, If it's in your heart to bury my dead milfanai, from before me, again, the dead body is right there, and there's something very visceral about it. Sham'oni, you listen to me, right? They said, listen to us, and he says, listen to me. Upiguli be'Ephron ben Tzochar. Find for me this guy named Ephron, the son of Tzochar. And Avram continues, V'yiten li et ma'arat ha'machpelah asher lo, asher b'ktzeh sadeu, b'kesef maleh yitnena li betochachem la'achozat kaver. So he says, find me this guy Ephron ben Tzochar, and he'll give me the cave of Machpelah. What does that mean? Either it's a name or a double cave, which is his, and it's in the edge of his field. For full money shall he give it to me, full cost. Not, I don't want it for free, with amongst you for a burial plot. Now Ephron was there. Ve'Ephron yoshev betoch bnei chet, and Ephron happened to be in the gate of the city. By the way, what I didn't mention is that we're talking about. We'll see in a second. Where people sit and congregate in the ancient world was at the gate of a city. Some people say it's because it's the strongest part. Other people say it's because there's shade there. Other people say it's because the comings and goings. But it's actually a known thing in ancient history that people would congregate at the gate, and we have many such examples in the Bible. So Ve'Ephron Yoshev betoch bnei chet. Now this Ephron was sitting amongst this group of people, amongst the Hittites. V'ya'an Ephron hachiti et Avraham be'oznei bnei chet. L'chol ba'ei sha'ar iro le'emor. So Ephron, who was sitting at the gate, he answers Abraham in the ears of the other Hittites, meaning to say, there are witnesses. Now it's clear that this is a public discourse. Right, it's not we say here in Hebrew, we say bar ba'inayim, and with 4 eyes, meaning to say, mano y mano, right? No, it's not like that. It's actually public, and he answers Abraham at the gate of his city, meaning to say Ephron's city, Ephron the Hittites, because it's a Hittite city, right? But we'll see how that changes later on. Saying, and this is what he said, Lo Adoni, no sir, Sham'aini, listen to me, Hasadeh natati lach, I have given you the field, V'ha'me'ara asher bo, and the cave that it's within it, Lecha natatiha, I have given it to you, Le'einei bnei ami, in the eyes of the children of my nation, Natatia lecha, I have given it to you, Natatia lach, kvo metecha, go ahead and bury your dead. So this is also a gesture. Okay, now, before the Hittite said, we'll give you whatever you want, now he says, I give it to you for free, sure, take whatever you want. I give it to you in front of everybody. I have enriched Abraham. I have given him what he wanted. Again, the meter is slow. Vayishtachu Avraham lifnei am haaretz. Abraham bows down in front of the people of the land, in front of the Hittites. Vayidaber Ephron be'oznei am haaretz le'emor. And he speaks now to Ephron in the ears of the people of the land. Meaning to say, again, it's a public discourse, and everybody's listening. And he says, le'emor, he says, saying, Ach im ata lu sham'eni. If you indeed are for me, then hear me. Sham'eni, you listen to me. Natati kesef hasadeh. I've already separated out the money for the field. Kach mimeni, just take it from me. I've already set it aside. Meaning to say, you're not putting me out. I've already made the calculation. It's already out of my hands. I've already given the money. Kach mimeni, take it from me. Vekbara et miti shama, and I will bury my dead there. Okay, so don't worry about asking me for money because I've already set it aside in my head. It's part of my calculations. I really just want to pay for it, and let me bury my dead there. Vayan Ephron et Avram lemorlo. So Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, Yan means it means 2 things. It really means to understand and to answer. By the way, that word is used in Arabic today. They say yani. Yani meaning to say. I want to say. I'd like to say, or in other words. Anyway, so Ephron says to Abraham thusly, Adoni, sir, Sham'aini, listen to me. Eretz 400 shekel kesef The land is worth 400 silver weight. Beini o beincha mahi. What is it between you and me? Vet metcha kvo. And therefore bury your dead. Meaning to say, this sum of money, now there's been different estimations of what this money is. I've heard everything between $100,000 and $1 million. We're talking about a large, large sum. It's definitely no deal. Okay, it's definitely not a symbolic money. We're talking about silver weight, full silver weight, 400 of it. He says that's how much it's worth, and he says this in a very Middle Eastern fashion. What is it between us, friends? We're both strong guys, both wealthy guys. That's how much the land is worth. What are we talking about money for? 400 silver weight, and then bury your dead, because that it keeps on coming back. Like, that's what it's really about, right? Don't worry about the land. Just give me this $1 million, and it's no big deal. V'yishma Avraham el Ephron. Abraham heard Ephron. Again, he's very attentive. He's very serious. He's taken this Ephron guy very seriously. V'yishkol Avraham Ephron et hakesef asher diber ba'oznei bnei chet. And Abraham weighed out for Ephron the money which he had spoken in front of all these witnesses, the Hittites. 400 shekel kesef over l'socher. 400 silver weight of silver. 400 weight of silver passing over to the merchant, meaning to say, Rashi explains that the kind of coinage that he gave him was the kind of coinage that's accepted everywhere. He gave him the best, most accepted coins. He didn't give him small change. He gave him big coins. It wasn't coins. It was really weight, but meaning to say like totally accepted weight everywhere else. Not chips, but like big hunks, or what are they called? Nodules. In such a fashion that there was never going to be any way to make this deal seem that it didn't happen, or somehow nullify or eviscerate the deal later on down the line. This is going to stick. And he passed him the money. So now the Torah goes into narration mode, and it says, Vayakam zde Ephron asher b'machpelah asher lifnei Mamre. The field of Ephron rose up, or it became. It's the place. What did it become? First, let me tell you where it is. It's b'machpelah. It's the double, or this place called Machpelah, which is in front of Mamre, which is a mountain right there called Jabal Nimra today. Hasadeh ve'hame'ara, the field and the cave, asher bo, which is in this plot of land. Kol ha'etz asher basadeh, and all the trees that are in the field, asher b'chol gvulos aviv, which is all around the property. What happened to it? It rose up and became le'Avraham, to Abraham, le'mikneh, for a purchase, le'miknah, le'enei b'nei chet, for the Hittites, b'chol ba'ei shari, all the people that came into the gate of his city. Wait a minute. Let's read that verse again. Le'Avraham, it became for Abraham, le'mikneh, for a purchase, le'enei b'nei chet, in front of the eyes of the Hittites, b'chol ba'ei shar iro, all the people that came into the gate of his city. Who's the his? It's Abraham's. See, before, the city belonged to the Hittites, and it belonged to Ephron the Hittite. But the minute that Abraham made that purchase, somehow the gate of the city became his. The city became his, because the places in the land of Israel, like the Temple Mount, like the tomb of Joseph, and like the Machpelah in Hebron, are the keys to holding on to these places. If you hold on to the Machpelah, you control Hebron. If you hold on to the tomb of Joseph, you control Shechem. If you hold on to the Temple Mount, you control Jerusalem. And whoever controls these three places, I think, has basically the key to the land of Israel. And that's why our forefathers purchased these places. But the Torah, very, very, very subtly, signals to you very subtly. It's just, you got to pick up on these things, which is like, look, the whole city shifted control. The control of the city was shifted from the Hittites to Abraham with this one purchase. And the Torah just says, now it's Shar Iro, it's the gate of his city, it's the city of Abraham. And then it says, V'achrechen kavar Avraham et Sarah. Afterwards, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, Ishto, El Ma'aratz de Machpelah, into the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, Al Pnei Mamre, which is on the face of Mamre. Hi Hebron, it is Hebron, Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. the Torah says this over and over and over again, just making sure that you got your GPS, your Google Maps open. It's Hebron in the land of Canaan. It's also Kiryat Arba. It's next to Jabal Nimrah. It tells you all these things just to make sure no doubt's going to be there. And that's going to be the way people know it for 2,000 years until Herod, 2,000 years later. Wait, 2,000 years? Yeah, 2,000 years later. 1 second, let me make the math again. Yeah, I guess 1,800 years later, after this event took place, did King Herod build the building that is still there today. And for us, it's 2,000 years old, and it came 2,000 years after 1,800 years after the burial. So that building that's there today is about a midway point in history, I like to point out. And now instead of the GPS of the Bible, we know it because there's this massive building there. But before there was a giant building there, the Torah keeps on saying, this is where it is. You got to know where it is. It's a real place in the land of Israel. It's a real purchase. Notice, by the way, that the name of God was not present in this story. Why? Because it wasn't about God's promises. It wasn't about God's gifts. It was about business. This was Abraham fulfilling something which was really the promise that God had made to him earlier, that you will inherit this land. And through the death of Sarah, did Abraham inherit this land, to purchase this land. And I want to say this is one of the reasons that I don't like the term Cave of the Patriarchs, since it is Sarah who's buried there first. In many ways, it's the Cave of the Matriarchs. In any case, what I always say is Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs, or the Tomb of the Forefathers and Mothers. Final verse here is Vayakam Hasadeh ve'Me'ara asher bo, the field and the cave that is within it rose up or became LaAvraham, for Abraham, LaAchuzat kever, for an eternal burial plot, Me'et bnei Chet, from the Hittites. And so this is the beginning of ownership of the Jewish people in the land of Israel, the burial of Sarah. And we continue now with the great effort to find somebody suitable to fill the next level of awesome matriarch, and that's going to be the incredible character of Rivka, of Rebecca. So now I end this part. This was dedicated to Ari Abramowitz on the Land of Israel Network, and now we begin with Rabbi Mike Feuer. So here we go. Thanks a lot. Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live from Jerusalem to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom, and welcome back to the land of Israel. In the meantime, while I was from last show to this show, I've been to both Palm Beach, which is really an island, and then drove across from Palm Beach to Sarasota, saw my wife's grandfather, and from there to Tampa, drove up to Tampa, flew out of Tampa, into Miami Airport and back to Israel, and here I am. Rabbi Mike Feuer, you join us. Shalom, Rabbi Mike.
You got quite a tan there, Yishai.
Yeah, well, I didn't really get a chance to sit so much in the sun, but I was in the beautiful Breakers Hotel, which I can hear that some people in the audience that are listening are like, yeah, and other people are like, what's that? Well, it's a really fancy hotel. It's a really, really nice hotel.
They let Jews in there?
I think that Palm Beach used to not let Jews so much in there.
That's a new innovation.
Yeah, but like other places, you know, that they didn't let the Jews in. They kept them really nice until the Jews had enough money to go into.
And money talks.
Right, and there's a place like that also in San Diego. I forgot the name of the place. La Jolla, something like that. Anyway, whatever. There's a place in San Diego that's like that also. Yeah, I think it's La Jolla. In any case, so Palm Beach was really nice. And then I drove across Florida. Now, Florida to me I characterize it as a tongue. It's like...
That's just
it's
unpleasant.
Flat, it's long, it's mushy,
Enough said.
And it is a wild place, man.
I mean, you know how many days, weeks I've spent floating rivers in Florida?
Really?
Mamish. I've done a 21-day trip on the Tim River in Florida. I've been on the Swanee, as in way down upon the...
It's the kind of place that I think to myself, if I ever had to like lie down here...
I've even done backpacking trips in Florida.
Isn't it a little dangerous? Don't crazy critters live in those
There's
waters?
all kinds of wacky stuff out there, for sure.
Yeah.
I've been stung by a scorpion in Florida.
Oh.
It was inside my glove.
Oh.
That hurt.
I feel like if you would like be like, I'll just take a nap here, like something will come and just.
It may not end well. Yeah.
I know that. This is a dark form. This is a dark humor, but I always
It's the look on your face right now. I'm telling you, we got to get a camera in when you say these things.
You know that whenever planes crash in the swamps, what's it called? The whole swamp area.
The Everglades.
The Everglades. Like there's no
They're
remains.
never found again.
There's no remains.
No.
There's metal pieces, but not any.
No flesh.
Yeah, no flesh.
No.
Oh my God, Florida's a nutty place like that.
Yep.
And it's like it's only just civilized. It's only just like on the. I feel like if like people left for 50 years.
I'm telling you, man, you get a week out on some of these rivers, and you have left everything behind.
Right.
And then you come across these houses with a Confederate flag hanging from the porch, just like out there, and you're like thinking, ooh, what's going on in there? I've had some pretty crazy Florida experiences myself.
Yeah, Florida's a wild place. It really is a wild place, but it's also a very beautiful place, truthfully. And there's also beautiful birds and beautiful wildlife.
Fancy hotels.
Fancy hotels, really nice hotels on the beach. And when I say on the beach, I don't mean across the street from the beach. I mean on the sea.
Meaning get there now before the sea eats it.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, it's the theme. I just keep bringing it up so people can think about it.
Yeah. We'll see. Where did I see?
We will.
Yeah, What was
hold the high ground, people?
What was there was some kind of weather pattern that they said was like some kind of crazy weather pattern, but they're like, we haven't seen anything like this in 50 years. I'm like, so 50 years ago you had the same weather pattern?
Right.
Anyway, the bottom line is that so in the meantime, between our shows, I had this traveling. I went to the Miami airport. By the way, is like a city. It's like a giant. I haven't been there.
I've ever been there.
I haven't been there in a long time because I usually fly into the little airports. But anyway, it's quite a thing. Kosher food was at a premium on this trip. It wasn't the easiest thing to get kosher food, but I did get kosher food, and it was catered at the hotel. And I was speaking at the David Horowitz Freedom Center Restoration Weekend, and I saw some of my friends. For example, Richard Kemp, who is a great
former general British.
Yeah, he was almost general. I think it was lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel.
And he's a British whatever, like general. And other people that were just fabulous to see. All kinds of conservative folks. And there I was talking, of course, about Israel and about our challenges. And I talked about the two attacks that we faced last week, which was the rocket attack, and then also the European marking of goods, the decision to mark Israeli goods coming out of Judea and Samaria as occupation, not coming out of Israel, but out of occupied Palestine, whatever it is. So I was talking about those two wars and how they dovetail.
Oh, yeah.
Little did I know that this week was going to be this announcement that came out of Secretary Pompeo of the United States, which basically said that they're repealing the 1979 Hansel Memorandum, which states that a Jewish presence in Judea and Samaria in the West Bank is illegal under international law. And that was repealed. Okay, that was repealed. And I think very sensibly, and it was also euphoric for folks who've been fighting for a long time, both for the rights of Jews in Judea and Samaria and also against the narrative war, which uses the occupation accusation as a bludgeon to smash us over the head. You were on a panel yesterday here at Pardes Institute about these issues yourself. Yeah,
well, here at Pardes we tend to take a more personal line. So the question for faculty members was what's your relationship to the Green Line?
Is that the question?
That was the question. Well, okay. It was the general. It was meant to just loft it out there in order to let you talk.
Fine, it's good.
My first answer was that it's completely insignificant. And I then tried to demonstrate how, whatever your sort of political or cultural opinions are, to give an overdue significance to the line that was drawn on a map when we managed to hold off the United Arab Armies from destroying our national home is a little bit ludicrous.
Right.
It's not like the Mason-Dixon line or something, Anyway, it was I think a successful discussion.
That's very interesting, and the way you said that actually just triggered a thought in my head, which is that we are also living in a generation. You and I remember the Berlin Wall falling.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Sure.
I was in a lot. What was I? 13, I think, something like that. Was it?
It was in 1989.
Yeah, I was 13, exactly.
What? Really? I was in high school. How old are you?
I'm 43.
Oh, you're younger than I am.
So I was exactly 13. That's funny. I remember that. And so I was in a lot, and there was that Scorpion song. Down
lost me
to
on the
Gorky
Scorpion.
Park, listening to the wind
No.
of change. That was the song. That was the anthem of the Berlin Wall falling.
I think I was listening to reggae and
Okay, I
in
get
late
that.
80s,
I
early
get that.
90s.
Oh, reggae. That's what my kids call the guy with the funny pants. because in Israel you can
The Bob
see a lot
Marley.
of Bob Marley pants.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So-
It's like, what?
I always tell them, I'm like, oh, funny pants guy. Here, listen, guys. Okay. Anyway, so wait.
How
So
did
here,
we get here?
here's what I was before we get to funny pants. Here's what I was trying to say, is that what happened yesterday with the with the announcement of the Secretary of State to withdraw the Hansel Memorandum is akin, in my mind, since of what you said, that a certain wall has fallen.
Yeah.
Right? A certain wall. My parents also were behind the wall. My parents were behind the wall of the Soviet Union. The Jews and other factors undermined that whole wall. It fell down.
Listen,
right?
it's part of a larger reconstruction, collapse, call it what you will, of the post-World War II world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we as Jews, it would behoove us to sort of feel that as a sense of freedom instead of one of fear. And there's a lot of people who are very nervous, like what's happening all around us, and states are failing, and alliances are shifting, walls are collapsing. At the same time, we should see it as an opportunity to set ourselves really free of a lot of the illusions that have held us back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Certain
for
walls have
sure.
definitely fallen. I was ecstatic, and I was tweeting my face off. And I was also, I had the time because I was exactly in two airports, and all that, middle time where you're not.
where you're neither here nor there.
You're neither here.
Literally.
Yeah, you're like you're not. Yeah, you're barely even totally human because you actually have to compress yourself to get into an airplane in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
You become a compressed, and it actually takes time to decompress when you come home.
Yep.
But in any case, that's great tweeting time, and I've been just firing away. And you know what I've been doing also? I really on Twitter, I have not really been addressing all the critiques of the hard left and all that, or the Arabs. I've been more like just touting the positive because I think something great really happened and very, very important for us. And one of the ways that you could tell is that the other side is really upset about it. And that happens and our good friend Zev Ornstein, who also listens to the show, said something to me which I think was very strong. And he mentioned to me that, isn't it interesting that this dovetails with this week's Torah portion, which is Chayei Sarah, which is the first purchase of the Jewish people in the land of Israel, and the basically the establishment of legal rights, of human legal rights in the land of Israel, in Judea. And so it dovetails very beautifully that
I
this
think about that.
that came together on this week's Torah portion. And I think it happened. What day is it today? When did that happen? Yesterday? I'm already so confused because of the flights. I guess it happened the day before yesterday, on Monday.
I think it was yesterday. Whatever.
Was it yesterday? In any case, the bottom line, it really fit well with the Torah portion, and we do have to talk about it for us in the work in Hebron. This is, of course, the big Torah portion. I think this is the Torah portion of Hebron and the purchase of the cave of the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. And it's also a Torah portion of love. I really think that this is what the real two themes of this week's Torah portion. And I have already, right before I started recording with you, I've spoken out the whole purchase and the negotiation, the Middle East style negotiation that is the negotiation between Abraham and the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite. But I wanted to talk with you about, first thing, let's start with the issue of Sarah passing away. Mm-hmm. Okay, Sarah's passing away, and comes Abraham to lispod leSarah ulivkota, to eulogize Sarah and to cry for her. Is this a common thing 3,800 years ago to have that kind of relationship with a woman?
I mean, it's interesting because I contrast it with like the bit of conversation we had last week about Lot's daughters, and we spoke about how could he do such a thing as offer his daughters basically as prey to the people of Sodom. And one of the assertions I made is, well, the Torah was given to a society which was patriarchal, in which women, certainly children, were seen as property. So here, this is the exact inverse. Where and let's not forget the context here is very dramatic. The way the Midrash presents it. By the way, it's clear that Avram wasn't with Sarah when she died, because he came to sort of to eulogize and mourn. Also, the Midrash says that why did Sarah die particularly now? Because she heard that Yitzchak was almost sacrifice.
Right.
That the word of what had gone down there
Right.
on Mount Moriah had gotten to her.
Okay, so here's a little story from the airplane. I was putting my luggage down in the to get my ticket at the Tampa airport, Tampa International. Nice airport. And I put my stuff down, and it weighed 53 pounds.
Ooh.
And the lady says to me, well, it's a little bit overweight. And I'm like, I could take something out. She's like, that'll be good, sugar. And I'm like, okay. So I reached into my bag, and I saw all kinds of stuff. And I saw that I took my Nativot Shalom and another book in a little bag. I took it out. I closed the bag in. It was exactly 50 pounds. So it gave me a sense that Hashem wanted me to learn this book
On the plane.
So I learned it. And one of the things that I learned was exactly about what you just said. He says that one of the ways that the Satan, the dark energy in this world works against us, sometimes it blocks us. That's in front of you, and sometimes it comes behind you. Tasir Satan milfanenu me'achorenu. Get rid of the Satan in front of us and behind us. Behind us is when he makes you doubt an accomplishment that you've had. And he said the way that he wanted to make Abraham doubt the accomplishment is the death of Sarah, the accomplishment of the Akedah. But therefore Rashi comes and says that the reason there's a small chaf in Livkotah is in order to say to you that she died because she was old and it was fulfilled, and the 127 years were full, and you shouldn't have any doubts that everything came in its right time. The fact is that
I mean, I hear it. Nevertheless, the Midrash does say
Right.
that what killed her was the sort of rumor of the Akedah, and I would point out,
or another way of saying it is that since she heard that he survived the Akedah, then she knew that her tafkid, her role was done.
okay, but that's not the way the Midrash puts it. I mean, stop with the apologetics. There's different perspectives on this. What I'm saying is that there's something very important in understanding this. That a whole new relationship with God came into the world there on Mount Moriah, and the old world passed from that. It was broken by it. Abraham and Yitzchak don't really have a relationship going forward from here. Sarah is gone. Now, Abraham carries through by making sure that he finds a wife for Yitzchak, but at this point, there's a handoff that happened, right? Because and sometimes the power of bringing something new into the world depends on the breaking of the old. It's not a pretty or gentle reality, but I think that's one of the messages of the Midrash. It bespeaks what we were speaking about before. There's like walls break, things come down. You want something new in the world? That means that oftentimes what was old is going to go, and that doesn't mean it wasn't important or precious. But listen, Moshe Rabbeinu isn't going to lead Am Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael. Yehoshua is going to do it, right? Because Moshe belonged to a previous world. So that's how I'm pointing out here that this
That goes
moment
also to our discussion with the flood.
yeah.
It's like sometimes things have to get kind of.
But I would say on a sort of a psycho-emotional level, something that I work a lot with people on is the importance of mourning. Right? I mean, the reality of what might have been has to be mourned if you're going to move into what could be. It's a big mistake people want to make. It's like, well, that's over,
Right?
Or I didn't get that job, or that girl, or whatever it was. So I'm moving on. It's important to move on, but you have to actually mourn. You have to own the loss, either of what you had or of what might have been, in order to do it in a healthy fashion. Don't skip that step.
Right.
And I think that's why our parsha begins there. It's not a parsha of mourning. Like you said, it's a parsha of establishing our legal human right to Eretz Yisrael. It's a parsha of marriage and love, but it begins with a recognition that in order for those things, those growthful, life-giving things to come into the world, you have to mourn the loss.
My Christian friends, by the way, always say to me that one of the main things that they're a little bit jealous of in Judaism is our rites of mourning. That they really
Meaning
appreciate
RITES.
Right, like
our
the
practices.
The practices of mourning. That's
Yeah.
right. Because it really does give a.
It's a powerful vessel for channeling what is a very difficult experience at best.
Right.
No question.
Okay, but before we get to mourning, and a great segue for that is, put your hand under my thigh.
Ooh.
There's an amazing. Yeah, that a little too much information.
That wasn't an
TMI.
invitation. That was a quote from the Bible. Just want to be clear if anybody's listening.
I think I'm going to call the show "Put Your Hand Under My Thigh." That's what I think.
Only if you have a picture of me going "whoa" next to it. Which I saw you did call the last show "Poking the Jihad Bear."
That was good. That was good. That was
made me
really
happy.
good. That was good. I actually really love this "put your hand under my thigh" business, and I'll tell you why. Because there is now a Rashi, and there's explanation that it means hold on to his brit milah, his covenant. But I'm going to take it actually personally. I think it's actually very sensical to take it at face value, and the simple reading, which is put your hand under my thigh. And I've actually shown this to my kids, and I talk about this every year. I say to my kid, put your hand under my thigh. I'm sitting on his chin. Now put your hand under my thigh. What you have to do is you have to get down below the person. You put your hand on the thigh. The thigh is warm. The thigh, and you know this also from first aid, if the thigh has a puncture or something like that, you could lose all your blood.
Oh, yeah.
The thigh is a fleshly part of your person, and you put your hand under, and it's your whole weight, your whole personage bears down on that person. And he says, now I'm I'm passing over to you something. It's not just in word. I'm giving you my heat, my personal personage.
And now swear to me.
Right, swear to me, exactly. You're swearing to the whole me right now.
Well, it's reminiscent of a lot of the rituals of feudalism where the oath was a binding oath that always involved some physical act of binding through the hand or elsewhere. You know, it's an interesting point you're making.
Right, and now what's going to happen is I've got to issue. There's a biblical kind of language like issue forth from the loins. Like I need you to be my emissary to find a bride who's going to fulfill take the place of Sarah on that level, and you got to find a special bride and bring her back to Yitzchak. And that's where that thigh comes in. It's like Abraham's really he's
all about continuity, yeah.
Right. And he's looking you in the eye and he's saying like, yeah, give me that, help me with that continuity, be part of my body here.
And which may be why, of course, he's never given a name. It's only Eved Avraham from
right.
before.
He's the
servant of Avraham.
Right. We only know that it's Eliezer, but that's not the text. That's right. The text called him the servant. Interestingly enough, he also balks and reminds me of Moses. And he says, what if the girl won't go with me? Just like Moses said, what if the people won't go with me? Should I bring your son over there and have him rest, like move to live in... and by the way, just can I ask you a question parenthetically? I always thought it was Haran, but then I read that it was Aram Naharaim. And I thought that his family was living in Haran.
Haran's in Aram Naharaim. Aram Naharaim is the upper end of Mesopotamia, not the lower end where he'd come from. That's my understanding.
Oh, that's Ur Kasdim.
Ur Kasdim is like where the Tigris and the Euphrates spread out.
Oh, okay.
And modern day Syria, right, where their headwaters are much closer together. That's my understanding of where Aram Naharaim is, because that's the part that David conquered.
Right. Okay. Just checking. Okay. So anyway, he sends him. He sends this servant to go and fetch this lass.
By the way, there's a very important piece I want to pull out of their conversation there, which is that Avram says to him when Eliezer, his servant, kind of balks a little bit and says, what if she won't come back?
Right.
Avram says two things. He says, God will
send his angel.
Yeah. And he says, and if it doesn't work out, then you're clean from your oath.
Right.
Which is very interesting, is that you see it's deep in Abraham's relationship with God, is that this is not a mechanistic relationship with God.
Right.
Avram says, listen, I know this is what God wants. I'm doing what God wants. But the truth is, it doesn't always work.
Right.
So therefore, we're going to do what we can, and I will set my parameters for you. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, if it doesn't work, listen.
That's right.
You're clean.
Right.
So it's a very important message, I think, for religious personalities who have a tendency to think that like everything is laid out in front of them. Like, I'm just doing God's will. God's will is that you do. You have to do what's right. You can't just do whatever you want.
Right.
But don't mistake the obedience as the only expression of religiosity. Abraham is the representative of the person who has a vision and is pursuing it.
Well, so you're saying don't always expect obedience. Don't lock into obedience, but also the other way, which is don't think God is obedient to you.
Right.
Right. Don't think
like,
that
I got it all figured out.
Right. He's not going to do it like the way you want it to be done. It's
you do the best you can,
right?
And you work with what you get.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so that's a great point. And he sends out this message, this servant, and he warns him, don't bring my son there. And we know that Yitzchak never left the land of Israel. He was kind of holy. He was a holy vessel, a holy.
He was a complete offering.
Complete offering, right? And he's not supposed to leave the land of Israel. the servant takes these 10 camels
I have neighbors like that.
that have 10 camels.
No, that have never
Left the land. Oh,
I may have neighbors that have 10 camels too, but we don't talk
you know
so
what?
much.
You know what? I got a lot. I know people that never left the land of Israel, and you know what? I respect that, and I really do. At the same time, I do think that we're living in a different time.
Slightly.
Yeah, no, but I think that today, first on the halachic level, one of the reasons you're not supposed to leave the land of Israel is because of the danger of the roads. Today, that's different. But also, I just have a feeling that we're coming into a time where the land of Israel is coming into itself, into what it's supposed to be, and so therefore, going out to the world from the land of Israel and seeing the sparks of the land of Israel in other places. Of course, not to live there.
No, I mean, we also live in a time. Listen, we're speaking to people who aren't in the land right now.
Right.
I mean, you know better than anyone the power of broadcasting. I don't know. For me, I feel very grounded here, as we've had this discussion before. I mean, obviously, I've left many times, and because of family or other obligations, likely will leave again. But when I leave something behind.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And in many ways, it's the better part of myself at this point. And so I strive not to. I've recently, a couple people reached out to me, asked if I would travel, come, do, and I said no.
Wow.
No, not doing it.
That's interesting. That is an interesting thing. What I was saying was really just I'm touching on the tip of the iceberg on just this thought that Israel's gone global right now.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that globalism is a godly intervention in this world.
This is important to remember that Yitzchak is only one archetype
Right.
of a way of being.
Right.
Avraham came from Chutz La'aretz, traveled. Yaakov is
sure.
gonna, so meaning if a person needs to know who they are, they might have that side of Yitzchak within them. But
right. And it is a beautiful thing. And there's also those American families who don't teach their kids English.
Yeah, I've known a few of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't play out well with grandparents.
No. Yeah.
Nor with their further professional development, but that's a different issue.
All right. So now, there's this famous line here, and the famous line is that the servant gets to the well and he turns to God and he says, Hashem, the God of my master Abraham, please make yourself known before me today. Do kindness with my master, with Abraham. Let me read this because I also think it's a kind of prayer that one can pray. Vayomar, he said, Hashem, Elokei Adoni Avraham. Hashem, the God of my master Abraham. Hakre na lefanai hayom. Please reveal yourself before me today.
Yeah, it's a fantastic word. Maybe we'll touch on it.
Ve'aseh chesed im Adoni Avraham. And do kindness with my master Abraham. Right?
This word hakre to me is one of the most important words in this whole story, maybe even in Breshit as a whole, because it shares a root with mikre, which means what? Happenstance. Now, this is what Eliezer is saying. He's saying, look, the whole world is in God's hands. You can relate to everything that happens to you as a coincidence, or you can relate to it as an invitation, right? And he wants God to manifest in his own experience. It's a fantastic invitation.
Now, the rabbis he goes on and he asks for a particular sign. He says, the girl that I'm going to bump into, and I'm going to say, please water.
Can I have a drink?
Water? And
she's going to say, here, go. I'll water your camels too, and then I'll know.
That'll be the one. That'll be the girl. And the rabbis are like, well, it's not. This wasn't exactly a proper request.
Right. It sounds a little bit like magic.
It sounds like work for me, God.
Also divination, meaning like the rabbis specifically label one of the forbidden Torah level prohibitions of saying like, oh, a black cat crossed my path, then I can't go down that way, or meaning the interpretation of circumstance.
Right. And yet, no matter how the sages interpret it as an improper, they say improper, questionable.
Yeah.
But that God did respond to it. The Torah will list these statements twice.
Oh yeah,
it's twice, and it's like the story I told at the beginning of the show about the book. Exactly. It gave me a little wink, a sign.
But that's what I meant by invitation. Meaning, in the end of the day, what did you do on the plane? You learned the Tiva Shalom. Right. You learned some Torah. Of course God wants you. God wants you to do that.
Sure.
And here is an invitation, Yishai. You could have pulled anything out of that bag. You could have pulled this out of the bag and just said, oh, that's nice that only weighed 3 pounds.
Right.
And shoved it in your carry-on and not taken it out. You said, oh, I'm being called to attention here.
Right.
Right. And that's kind of what Eliezer is asking God to do. Is like, please see me. See, I'm on a mission from. Notice he's not asking for himself. He's asking on the behalf of Abraham.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so indeed, he's going to be shocked that the very words that he asked for, the very request that he made, gets fulfilled
Before he's even finished speaking.
Before he's finished speaking, right? And it's exactly what he said. And the Torah writes that he's a little shocked, a little kind of he in a sense dumbstruck. It's a little bit more. It's like the old joke, about the old joke in New York. There's a guy driving around New York City, says, "God, give me a parking spot. God, give me a parking spot. Please, God, I need a parking spot. I need a parking spot." And the building that he's supposed to park next to, just as he's going around for the 11th time, somebody pulls out right in front, and he's like, "No, thanks, God. I found one myself."
Oh.
Right? Okay. No, but it's like this. It's like the servant here is just like, is it that easy? Is it really that real? And then we get introduced to one of my favorite characters in the whole Bible, really, in the whole Tanakh, is Rivka. I am absolutely one of her biggest fans. Really, I'm in the Rivka fan club. Okay,
and you get to see her on an almost daily basis.
Well, not quite.
Right, she's in, the limited access area.
That's right. She's in the Waqf-controlled side of the Tomb of the Patriarchs and Matriarchs.
That's true.
I'm a big fan of Rivka. I'm a big Rivka fan. And the thing about why I'm such a big fan about Rivka is that you have never met somebody who's every single time you meet her, every single phrase and every single moment that you've ever met her is the most decisive person in the whole Bible.
Yes.
Every phrase about her is decisive, as in the first one that we meet. Here she comes. She's coming out, and she's very beautiful, and she's never been with a man and all that. And he comes to her, and he says, "Can I have some water?" She says, "Drink, my master," and she hurries, puts down her jar. She gives him to drink, and then she says, "V'tomar gam legamalecha eshav." I'm going to now draw water for your camels until they're done drinking. So,
which is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and she's ostensibly a little girl here, but she is very, 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 very decisive. And then,
and when they ask her, "You want to go with this guy?"
Oh, right. We're gonna right, exactly. Finally, they sit down at. He comes into the house. The servant.
Yet another classic Middle Eastern moment.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Total Middle East. Yeah. They're sitting. They're eating. They
offer him to eat.
They offer him to eat. He says, "I can't eat."
Right.
I won't eat until I have to say what I have to say.
You know what I find one of the most powerful lines in that whole moment is when he just simply says, "I am the servant of Abraham."
Right. Let's look at it inside. And yes. this is now we're also introduced to Lavan, the kind of trickster of the Bible, the huckster. Is that right? Huckster or hucksterism?
No, huckster is not what you're looking for.
No,
trickster.
Trickster. Okay, yeah. So he. We meet him also, but let's pass that. Anyway, they bring him into the house. Vayavo isha baita. The servant, the man, came into the house. Vayifatach hagmalim. He parked the camels, right? Viten teven umispo. They give lagmalim. They give
what to eat.
What to eat to the camels. Umayim lirchotz reglav. They clean his feet. V'reglei anshem anashim asherito. He's with an entourage, and they clean off their feet. That's the way they used to do it. Vayusam lefanav lechol. They put.
They lay out the feast before him.
Right? They lay out the feast. Vayomer, he says, Lo ochal, I shall not eat. Ad im dibarti devarai. I'm not going to speak until I'm not going to eat until I speak my speakings. Vayomer.
They say, speak.
Speak, daber. It's great. It's so real. It's so real. And
even like you look at the trope, Vayomar. It's an etnachta at the beginning of the pasuk. Vayomar.
Right.
Like, pause. Eved Avraham Anochi.
That's the next verse, right?
Right. I am the servant of Abraham.
I'm the servant of Abraham. That's what I am. That's right.
Right.
And that says a lot. That says a lot. I'm here. I'm an emissary of this great man.
I mean, it's also a very powerful image because, like you pointed out, here he is leading an entourage, 10 camels, other people, and he's saying, "I'm the servant of Abraham."
Right.
The image it creates of Abraham in that moment.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's like this guy's servant just showed up with an entourage.
Right, and he's got all this stuff. He's
like giving away gold and,
right.
Right. Who's the master?
Right, the first thing that he does is he gives Rivka, he gives her
jewels necklace,
nose ring
and bracelets. But the real point there to me is notice, because next thing he says, "I'm the servant of Abraham." But what does he say next? Vashem barechet adni ma'od. And God has blessed my master. Meaning, Avram he says, Avram is my master. Avram says, God is my master. So by the way Eliezer, or the Eved Avram, presents himself, he's truly elevating his God. And that's part of this whole power of this story here, is that it's all about elevating God. It's often missed because it looks like this interaction between people, right? But the lower this servant places himself, he's bowing, and at the end of this all, he like once he hears, not the end of it all, but once his interaction with Rivka, when he hears him, he says, wait, what family are you from? And Rivka says, oh, I'm, the
Abraham's
house of
family.
Yeah. He bows to the ground.
Right.
Just to show you the context. That this is for the glory of God.
It's big stuff, and it's really, we learn from here what it is to be an emissary, what it means to be an emissary of the founders. In any case, he goes in and recounts the whole story, with slight variations, which the rabbis learn all kinds of stuff from. But in general, he basically retells the whole story. One of the questions of the Torah is, why is there a retelling of the story? And maybe from there we learn a lesson, which is when you have a miracle happen to you, when you have something to share with the world, tell the story. The story melts away people's. Had he said, well, Abraham sent me and now I'm looking for a wife, well, people are like,
well, I don't know. Who are you?
I don't know,
And
yeah.
this is really worthwhile. Let's talk and negotiate. And,
right. This way he tells them a story. And this is what we were talking right before the show. And you said, I'm a storyteller. You, Rabbi Mike, said that. So I'm saying, like, look, what Eliezer or the servant does here is storytelling. He had a story happen to him. But one of the things that we learn is he told the story.
And none of that, but what's the reaction in the end? If you looking now in chapter 24, line 50, Vayan Lavan u'Tuel, right? Lavan and Tuel, after hearing this whole story, answer him, V'yomeru me'Hashem yatzad davar. This comes from God. Lo nuchal daber alecha ra o tov. We can't say anything good or bad.
Bad or good.
Bad or good, right? Meaning we would have.
Right.
We would have totally gone in there and gotten the most out of this we could have, and maybe we'd have kicked you right out the door because you look a little sketchy. But now that you've pulled us into this tale, like, well, what are we supposed to do? We're just characters.
To me, this teaches us a mitzvah. The mitzvah is to tell the story.
Always.
The mitzvah is to tell a story. The mitzvah is to tell the story of Am Yisrael. In any case, they say to him, as you just said, like, well, it's from God. Here, take Rivka, kach velech. Take her and go away. We had the same phrase by I think Paro with Sarah. Kach velech, take her and go, and may she become a wife to the son of your servant, as God has spoken. And again, like you pointed out, now that he heard this, he bows down. He takes out all kinds of gifts, gives everybody gifts.
He bows down to God.
He bows down to God.
Remember, in this context, bowing to them would have been totally reasonable as well. But it's very important that he bows to God in this moment.
That's interesting because in the very same Torah portion, Avram is going to bow down to the people.
Yes.
Right.
There's a lot of bowing, but it's like you see, it is a social custom. We today as Jews have bowing issues, for good reasons. But here, I think that's why it's so powerful, is that he's an Eved. For him to bow to the human master is built into who he is. The only person he bows to in this whole story is to God at each stage.
Okay, but they are tricksters. So even though everything is great, and we've already noticed that before they set down the food, he's like, I don't want anything to delay me. I want to speak what I got. I came here on a mission, and my mission is not to eat and to enjoy myself. Here's my mission. Okay, so afterwards, when it's time to go, they said that her brother and her mother said, maybe the girl should sit with us a few days or 10 months. It depends what the word asor in this case means. Maybe a day or 10 days or maybe 10 months. And then she'll go like, don't rush this. I mean, come on, we're saying
we
goodbye.
We just got engaged.
Yeah, you're saying goodbye to her. You're taking our daughter, our sister. And he says, don't delay me. Hashem is going to succeed my way. Hitzliach also means make it go quickly.
Right.
Send me and I'll go to my master. And then they say, well, let's call the girl and ask her. Right?
Figuring that she's not going to be so eager to go running off to somewhere she's never been with some guy she's never met,
Right.
She's on their side.
So they call Rivka. They called her and they said to her, Hatilchi ma'ish hazeh. Are you going to go with this man?
This guy?
But yeah, right, exactly. Like with this weirdo, with this stranger. Are you
showed up
go
out
with
of
him?
nowhere.
Vatomer elech. That's her line. She says, I'll go.
Yep.
That's it. One word, man. She's out.
Yep.
Rivka. One word. She's out of there.
Her whole life.
Right. It's not yes and this and that and I'll hug and bye. I love that.
One thinks it might not have actually been so cozy for her there since she was out drawing water for the camels. But
yeah, it could be. But whatever it is.
Could be much better off with the rich guy's
She is
son.
out of there. Okay. So they send her. Listen to this. The Torah is so funny here because it says they sent her. And she also took with her the famous nursemaid, and they sent out her and the nursemaid and the servant of Abraham and his people. And I'll get back to this in a second. But the next verse says, and they blessed Rivka, and they said to her,
"That's a good one.
Our sister, achotenu ati le'alfei revava, be
thousands and tens of thousands, myriads,
right? Be myriads." Vayirash zarech es shar osonav, and may your seed inherit the gate of its enemies.
Which is a direct echo of the blessing that God gave to Abraham at the end of the Akedah.
Right, but there is a difference. The difference over there, it says, Vayirash zarech es shar oivav.
Right.
I think I mentioned this a few years ago to you, that if you think about it, who is the seed of Abraham? It's Yitzchak. Mm-hmm. But the other competitor for that is Ishmael. Okay, and here, it's who's the seed of Rivka? Well, she's got two kids. Yaakov.
And Esav.
Now, we know that Esav, halacha be'yadua Esav, soneh Yaakov. Right? So he's saying your real seed should defeat his hater, Esav. And by Abraham, it was like Yitzchak should be able to defeat Ishmael. Mm-hmm. Okay? And you understand that there's a difference between an oyev and a soneh.
Sure.
A soneh is a deep hater. But oyev is an enemy, which is not necessarily the deepest hate.
No, because once you resolve what the competition is, you might actually be able to live peaceably.
Right. Okay, very good. So I said before, they sent her out, but then it says, verse 61, we're in Genesis 24:61, Chayei Sarah, it says, Vatakam Rivka v'narotea v'tirkavna lekmalim. Rivka and her handmaidens got up and rode on the camels. That's the first part of the verse. Like these girls,
they jumped up on
the camels. They're riding. Let's roll, right?
Yeah.
And then it says v'telech nachreish, and they walked after the man. And then it says v'ikacha evated Rivka v'yelech, and the servant took Rivka.
He's like, all right, I'm going with her.
All right. Okay, we're going now. Oh my gosh! I tell you, Rivka Mama, she's the most amazing person. She's just so gutsy, and the Torah hints you all the time, and that she is just knows exactly where she's going. Anyway, the next thing we learn is that Yitzchak is meditating in the field, l'suach basadeh. Rabbis tell us this is the afternoon prayer. What is the sadeh? Could it be the sadeh of Ephron, the sadeh of Ma'at Machpelah? Could it be there? Or it could be some other field. But the point is
could be the Temple Mount.
Could be the Temple Mount. And he's praying on the field. He is praying on the field. Before evening. And he lifts up his eyes and he sees camels are approaching. By the way, camels are big players in this whole Torah portion.
Yes.
They keep on, the camels are a thing. And guess who else raised her eyes? It's Rivka. She raises her eyes. And she saw Yitzchak. And then very famously, and maybe very beautifully, v'tipol me'al hagamal. She falls from atop the camel.
Which is a big drop.
If anybody's been on a camel, you do not want to fall off a camel. So maybe ostensibly this means that she's shocked by his countenance, right?
Biblical.
She's awed by it. It's like, whoa, that guy, that is something. But I have a different pshat, if I may. V'tipol is also from the Lashon Tefillah. We know that there's a medrash that they prayed at opposite side of the rooms, and it says right beforehand that he was in the field praying.
Right.
So v'tipol mal gamal, she saw him and she started praying. have you ever seen those? I'm using the term harmonic resonance. Do you know?
A tuning fork, like a pitchfork?
Tuning fork. You know
Tuning fork, yeah.
You know that like you play a piano, you hit the note on the piano, and you have
And
that
it
note.
resonates.
It starts to vibrate.
Yeah.
That's what I think Yitzchak and Rivka are like.
That's a beautiful image.
She just sees him praying, and it's like woo, 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 woo. She's right on key with him. She's right on key with him. She just sees him. And look at it. They see each other. He raises eyes. He sees her. She raises eyes. He sees him. And they're like, they're already in. There's something amazingly locked into one another from this distance. And she says to the servant, "Who is this person?" The very weird word is halazeh, and I think I heard that the gra. I don't know how he gets rid of the two hays on either side of that, but the Lamed Zion in the middle is 37. That's how old Yitzchak was at the Akedah. Anyway, I don't remember exactly what that Torah is. If somebody remembers, please write to me. Anyway, she says, "Who is that man? Who was that masked man?"
Yes.
He's like, that's the dude, and she covers her face to be modest. Then we have, basically the servant meets Yitzchak. He tells him the whole story again. It wasn't going to be a third
the Torah
time.
spared us.
Right. But it does say that he
But it
told
does
them.
note that he does tell them the story, for sure.
Like
It's very important, like you said, because what he's doing, he's binding all the pieces together through
Right.
the story. Everybody's in one story here.
that's great stuff. That's
Yep.
great stuff. And
Yep.
and look at the word. It doesn't say Vayomer Ha'eved.
No, but
It's V'seper. He told them the tale. He told them the tale of what happened.
lest you think that this is disconnected.
Right. Beautiful. So then one of the probably in one verse, other than stuff in the Song of Songs, this is probably the most romantic verse in the whole Torah. That's my guess. It says in verse 67, "Vayavieha Yitzchak ha'ohala Sarah imo." Isaac brings her into the tent of Sarah, his mother. Veikach et Rivka, he took Rivka, v'tihi lo lishan, she became to him a wife, ve'yahaveh, and he loved her. Ve'inachem Yitzchak acharei imo, and he was consoled after his mother, or the loss of his mother.
Mm-hmm.
That is just.
There's so much in that verse.
Go ahead. You have,
But I don't know where to begin with it.
give us one thing.
I think that for me, the word nachem is always a very powerful key in opening up the inner experience of whoever it's referring to, because so the word, we spoke about it before. I mean, it's used to mean comfort, like he was consoled, but it also is used to mean regret, right? That's its first appearance, actually. And the reason that you could use the same word to mean the two is because it actually means to change your perspective on something which has already happened. Mm-hmm. Is that Yitzchak is feeling this tremendous loss of the woman in his life, of Sarah, his mother, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to put that into one story of his life. When he meets Rivka, he realizes, wow, that this is who I've been waiting for. Mm-hmm. And the very love that he had for Sarah prepared him to be able to love Rivka in a way that would be healthy and real. Right, and it's not that Sarah had to die in order for him to love Rivka. That's not what I'm saying. It's just the reality is that Sarah was gone, and he felt this tremendous ability to love and didn't know where to put it. And now he realized, right, like God hasn't left me bereft.
And this whole Torah portion is about this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he felt a little bit of guilt. Maybe he also didn't see his mother passing away, and he had to say goodbye.
There's a lot of issues.
There's a lot of issues, but at the same time, like that the Torah, to me, the whole, and I'm going to add one more layer to this in a second, but that the whole story of Chayei Sarah and this Marat Machpelah, the whole story of this purchase of this place to bury the family, and it's in couples, and then really it's the place, and it's we're burying Sarah. Here comes Rivka. And there's love there, and there's continuity. It's.
I'll add to that, it's also a place of family reconciliation. Mm-hmm. We know that Yishmael comes.
I was going to get that exactly. I was exactly going to get to that point, which is, and I do this on the tour, and I know that I didn't have a chance to tour the folks of Pardes recently in Hebron. I was sad about that. But one of the things that I'm always stressing is this is actually a place of, as you said, reconciliation and love. Not just the love of the founding couples, but also here's verse towards the end of the Torah portion. chapter 25, verse 8, it says, Vayikva vayamat Avram. Avram passed away. B'seiva tova. In a good age. Zaken v'saver. He was old and satiated. Yeah, and that's very Tao Te Ching. You gotta, yeah. One of my favorite verses in the whole Tao Te Ching, which is something that really guides me. And I tell you, the Tao Te Ching is it's like my favorite book outside of the Torah books. It's very, very wise in my opinion. And it just has this one verse which is like a person should die like a farmer coming home after a hard day's work, satisfied, and goes to sleep. But it says it in like 1/10 of the words I just said it.
Right.
But it's like
it's a beautiful image.
Yeah, it is. He's just like, you should have worked hard, and you just go to sleep being like, that was a good long day. Good.
Do I get a beer first?
You can get a beer. Sake. Okay. Banzai. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, you're going to hell for that
Sorry
one.
that I know everything about Japan from although that was from China.
From the Karate Kid.
From Karate Kid. Sorry about that. Even though that was China.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you can go there.
that's all right. So then he passes away. Fine. Here's the next great verse, which we were just about to get to. V'yikberu oto Yitzchak v'Ishmael banav. And now the Torah lays out a few times in different ways that Yishmael is not on the level of Yitzchak, that he's the son of the concubine, and it like really makes it darn clear.
Kicks him out.
Right.
Ben Ha'amazo, right.
Kicks him out, but also little things. If you notice in this week's Torah portion, where is Yitzchak hanging out? He's hanging out in Be'er L'chai Roi, which is where Yishmael went. It's obvious that he's not totally, Ishmael is not out. No. He's separated
well, especially now that Sarah's gone.
Right. In any case, what happens? That Yitzchak and Ishmael, his sons, the Torah will say, they bury together Abraham to the Marat Machpelah, to the field of Ephron, which is on the face of Mamre, which is today's called Jabal Nimrah, the mountain of Nimrah. And that is the field which Abraham bought from the Hittites. And there was buried, Kubar, were buried Avraham and Sarah, Ishto Avraham, and his wife Sarah. So, and then he continues, by the way, Yitzchak continues to live in Be'er L'chai Roi, obviously with Ishmael in some relationship.
Yeah, some family unit here.
Okay, so that's how that part of the Torah portion ends. Then there's one more part, which is the life of Ishmael and his family, 12 being the kind of princesses that issue forth from him. Princes. Okay, right. And cryptically, at the very end, it says Al Pnei Kol Echav Nafal. He fell upon.
Yeah,
it's a cryptic phrase, but it is also a negative phrase, no doubt about it. It's saying something to you about Ishmael and how he ended, and he ends in a fall of sorts. That's how the Torah ends that. It's a cryptic statement. And Rashi adds that after Abraham, the influence of Abraham was gone, he fell off the path. He was not in good shape. He needed that guiding hand, and he was not the continuation of the Abrahamic tradition without Abraham's presence. But in any case, an amazing Torah portion, I think really, really filled with love. And if you take and I learned something from a Rabbi Klatzko. He's a very, very powerful rabbi, and I heard him give a speech to Russian Jews, and he gave this whole schmooze that he said, like, what's the holiest land in the world? Land of Israel. What's the holiest city? Jerusalem. What's the holiest place? The temple. What's the holiest place within the temple? The Holy of Holies. He's like, now take a needle, put it right through the middle of the Holy of Holies. What do you find? The two cherubs that are facing one another. He's like, the center of the Jewish world is love. It was good. It was good, and here at the counter, like the other polarity of Jerusalem, Hebron. Again, the heart of it all really is this relationship and love.
It's the base, because from here on out, this story is going to go in many directions, right? And we're going to see that today we live in a world of narrative warfare. It really began with the Christians and their claim to be us back, at their origins, etc. But to go back to your theme about the story here is that love is a binding force, and here it's being put forward as the binding force to assert that there's only one story. In many ways, that's the task of Am Yisrael, especially today, to just teach them there's only one story. The uniqueness of the Jews is we don't need a homogenous story. You don't need everyone to be like us. We don't need everyone to tell our story. No. The richness of the story is in the diversity of its voices and its characters. But don't go too far with that. Because you got to understand there's actually only one story happening here. And it's the love for both the teller of that story and for the sort of characters that walk within it that binds them all together.
Right. And we have a mitzvah, folks. We have a mitzvah to tell that story. And I think we're fulfilling that story here on the show today. And I think that the mitzvah of listening to this show today is to be able to tell that story onwards.
And share it with other people.
Share the story. Yeah, let's prepare. Tell that story. All right, you are listening to the Yishai Fleisher Show, and we are going to also be telling that story this Shabbat with the ingathering of 40,000 people.
Alfei
Revavot to Marat Machpelah. And I tell you, there are few things in this world that are as powerful as reading this Torah portion in that field. That is an awesome thing. Really, it really is an awesome, awesome thing. When you have that old parchment with its ancient words and the deepest of truths in that piece of land with the people of today reading it and looking up to God, right? When that kind of
comes together,
right? When it all comes together and goes through from top to bottom, from bottom to top, it's a super powerful thing, and it's not a coincidence also that we're going to have about a tenth of the Knesset is going to be in Hebron with us over Shabbat. And
really, where are they staying?
We give them what I would call quote unquote VIP. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's quote unquote VIP because
there's actually a bed and a toilet,
right? And you're not sharing it with with more than 5 or 6 people. So we accommodate people, and it's a big effort of hospitality. That's one of our toughest efforts, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's going to be looks like it's going to be a cool and sunny day on Shabbat morning to read that Torah portion out there, and I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to share that love with you, and I want you to be able to join us. So come visit us in Hebron by checking out hebronfund.org and come on our one of our weekly tours, which are just very powerful. And yeah, I don't know. There's it's beyond words. That's the truth. It's a little bit beyond words, but it's not beyond words because we told the story today, and we're going to keep telling that story.
And there's a place that grounds it.
There's a place that grounds it, and then there's a next week's Torah portion, and it's the next part of the story.
The story goes on.
Okay, Rabbi Mike Feuer, thanks so much for joining me. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, welcome back.
You had a little bit of a cold, I heard.
Yes, a little bit.
So let's say Refuah Shlema to Rabbi Mike Feuer.
Amen.
What's our full name here?
Michael Mordechai ben Bluma Sarah.
Michael Mordechai ben Bluma Sarah, Refuah Shlema. Do not slip into any pneumonia or anything like that, God forbid, right? So everybody, come on, put out a look up to God and say, give Rabbi Mike a full recovery, and Bezrat Hashem, we will recover from Shabbat, and we'll see you next week, Bezrat Hashem.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
All right, folks, stay tuned. Thanks, Rabbi Mike Feuer, which can be reached at Rav Mike at thelandofisrael.com or jewishstory.co or facebook.com/Rav Mike. I can be reached at Yishai at thelandofisrael.com, Yishai Fleisher, Yishai at thelandofisrael.com, Yishai at YishaiFleisher.com. Oh my gosh, I forget it. Whatever. If you can't find me, then you got a problem.
Then you don't know how to use the internet.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know how to. And let's stay tuned. I hope that we'll get a little bit of Malkah Fleisher for just a few minutes to get that feminine side of this great story. God bless you, folks. Stay tuned. Stay strong. Stay connected. We'll be right back with more. And shalom.
This week on Israel Uncensored with Josh Haston, an interview with Oren Hasson of Levon Soldier Center in memory of Michael Levine, helping immigrant soldiers and those without families.
During their service, when they come home from base and they have nobody to talk to, they have us. It's amazing to be able to connect the Marines from the U.S. and the IDF soldiers to come together on an event like this.
For the full show, download Israel Uncensored with Josh Haston on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
All right, folks, you are listening to the Yishai Fleisher Show, and we are back here with Malkah Fleisher, broadcasting live from Judea. Shalom, Malkah.
Shalom, Yishai.
And Parshat Chayei Sarah, Malkah.
Chayei Sarah. We got Sarah Imenu. We're going down to Hebron. We're going to go hang out. I bought a bunch of little black seeds, the sunflower seeds.
Yes.
I like to put them in little plastic bags, and then I hand them out to the soldiers.
Right.
I used to buy Crembo.
Yeah, but you stopped doing that.
The marshmallow with the cookie, and then it's all covered in chocolate. I stopped doing that because of two reasons. One is because, well, three reasons. One is because it's bulky. Two is because it's kind of expensive. But three, I thought to myself, why would I take this Jewish soldier who I need to be like healthy and strong and be able to concentrate and give him this like pretty non-nutritionally value-y thing?
If you would, like, for example, make some beef jerky or biltong.
Can I tell you a little story?
Okay.
One time, when I grew up in Texas, and in Texas, children have 1 year of Texas history class. Like Texas history, I think it was, I want to say it was
Texas
the 8th
Art
grade.
Appreciation.
It was the 8th grade.
Texas math.
No.
Let's
You can
say-
make fun all you want. Hey, you know what? You can make fun all you want. Did you have a year of New Jersey history?
I have no idea.
So in the face, okay, Yishai? I had a year, and you can make fun all you want of Texas math and
I
Texas
think you're a little
Texas
oversensitive.
art.
I like Texas, but it's
What
kind
I'm
of funny to
saying
me that
is
Texas
that
is very...
But it has a rich history
yes.
and culture, and
Yes.
for one entire year, you have American history, you have world history, you have European history. These are different years possibly in
And
school.
you had a whole year of
So I had a
Texas
year of
history.
Texas history.
Okay.
In Texas history class, as part of the class, we had to make an item that was like a prairie.
I haven't been to Texas in too long.
Yeah, we need to go
I'm
back.
feeling it.
Wait, I got to tell you my story.
Go.
So we had to make a project where we make an item that is like a prairie. I forget what we were studying specifically, but it was like early Texas history, and we had to make something that was like something that would have been traded or that people would have liked,
Like maize.
on the prairie. So nobody made maize, but people like had to make different things, and it was like a thing that was graded.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all the things that I ever did in school that were like projects, quote unquote, that were like a big deal type thing, my parents always got really super involved. Did you ever have that?
Sure.
Like when I was in science class, so my parents like forced me to do these like whatever science project it is that they wanted to do. Did you have
my
that?
parents are both scientists, and they did not get involved in my science
What?
projects. They're like, and I remember they helped me. I'll never forget my science project about gum. I studied gum.
Yeah.
And I made gum. My mom
Wow.
got me gum base and flavor and all kinds of
Cool.
stuff. And I did fine at that. But when my parents got involved was in the Tanakh.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
Why?
they-
What do you mean they got involved?
I'll never forget this. My dad got the glint in his eye, and they made Gilgal.
What?
They had, listen to this, Malkah. He took a frame.
What did you like? What
Mom-
did you do
Mom,
this whole time?
He took a large gold frame of a picture.
Wow.
He made a base to it.
Yeah.
Then he poured sand and glue on it.
Wow.
Then he made a mountain in the middle. Then in the mountain he took clear like quartz rocks at the top, 12 of them.
Wow.
Then he put like
Did
a
you
black.
have anything to do with
I was
this?
like, can I help? No, get away. Wait, Malkah. He put a light bulb
Yeah.
with a switch.
Wow.
Okay. And at the end, this thing was, and you saw all the people were all around the mountain. You turned a button, the 12 rocks lit up.
Wow.
I didn't do that well because everybody was like, "This is something your parents made." that's what it was like. It was beautiful. It was.
Wait,
it
you
was,
didn't get an A?
No.
Get out of town.
It was like it was the kind of thing where
Your
it was like
dad didn't get an A.
it was like award winning. And yet it was just like
It was too much.
It was like a different level, and it was just kind of obvious. People were, I was selling tickets. I made money for people to see it, but like I didn't. It wasn't like a,
So okay, that was a funny story.
Yeah.
So my story is that we had to make something. At the time, it was the perfect storm. Basically, this project happened at the same time as my father had gotten a food dehydrator.
right.
And he made, honestly, now I didn't grow up eating kosher, okay? So I don't know if it would be the same. But he made the most incredible beef jerky. Really good. Really, really good. Mm-hmm. So he was like, okay, I went home and I told him about this project. He's like, okay, I didn't touch one piece of meat. I didn't flavor it. I did nothing, okay? My father made this beef jerky. I can still, if I concentrate in my mind, I can still taste it. It was really good. He used liquid smoke and Worcestershire sauce and all this stuff. Anyway, what was going to happen in the class is that everyone makes something, and then you could trade amongst yourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's like also part of the project, is that they see the project, you get a grade, and then you can like trade for different things. So I brought in, like, my dad, being my dad, made a huge bag of beef jerky, like enough for everybody, right? In my whole class. One girl, I remember this, made lye soap, real soap made out of tallow, made out of like fat of animals. She was in like the 4-H club, and she was into agriculture, and she made her own soap, and that was not up for barter. She had to like take home the lye soap. There was something like she needed it maybe for 4-H competition. I don't know what it was, but we couldn't trade for the soap. But everyone else, like, people made like dolls out of like cotton fluff and stuff like that. So I ended up with everybody's project. I got everybody's project
because
they wanted the beef jerky.
Right.
That's my story.
That's a good story. If you made Mahadran beef
Wait, how do we
jerky,
start this discussion?
Because you don't want to walk around giving crembos to the soldiers
Right.
in Hebron. You want to give them seeds. By the way, speaking of Texas, here's my chidon.
Oh, your riddle?
My riddle.
Yeah.
What is found in the basement of the Alamo? Okay? If you can get this, we will send you something. Okay, Malkah? First person to get it. Okay, first 3 people to get it. What is found in the basement of the Alamo?
What are we going to send them?
I don't know. Some kind of knick-knack.
Some sunflower seeds.
There you go.
Anyway, so I take sunflower seeds to Hebron now because I figure it's like sunflower seeds do have nutritional value. There's like minerals in there, and you know, it's a plant-based thing, and then you could like like bite them, you put them in your pocket. They're like something fun to do. They're not.
You
know,
keep
it's
a
not
seed
bad
cup
for
the seed cup has been empty in the house.
I have to refill the seed cup for you.
Yeah, I like it when
Yishai seed cup.
That's like when I get nervous, I walk into the kitchen.
Yeah, he walks into the kitchen, eats some seeds. It's like my aunt, who lives in New Jersey, she has birds. She keeps birds for as long as I've known her, I think. And you know how the sound of birds, have you ever been around somebody who, so it's like you hear them like, and like, you know, nosing through their seeds, and then they find one and they're like, and they crack it open. That, I live with that.
That's me.
That's you.
Right. I'm very excited for Shabbat Chayei Sarah, and I mentioned on the last hour that what a coinkydink it is that on the very Torah portion that we talk about the rights of the Jewish people in the land of Israel as rights that are human rights based on a purchase, not to mention godly rights. That's the very week where there's a recognition that we have legal rights to the land of Israel with the Trump administration basically de-illegalizing, if to be accurate, de-illegalizing. They didn't say that settlements are legal, but they said they're not illegal. Right. So it's not illegal, and 2 negatives make positive.
Yes.
Okay? So that's really cool. I'm really excited for Shabbat. Speaking of negatives, you have really entered into the Twittersphere.
Yeah.
And there's this one lady on Twitter whose name is Ariel Gold. She's one of the co-founders of Code Pink. I think I met her one time.
Really?
There was a big Code Pink person in Hebron. I think it was her.
What? Why? She hasn't been admitted to Israel in
It was
some
like 2
time.
years ago.
I think it's even,
I
don't know.
It could have been another person, but it was a wild Code Pink person.
She's one of the people who has like clashed with this law in which Israel can deny entry to like pro-BDS, anti-Israel people.
Right.
She's not allowed into Israel.
So she just, David Wilder, the previous spokesman
Of Hebron.
of the Jewish community of Hebron, who I have the great honor of trying to fill his position.
Right.
He just tweeted a beautiful picture with the Torah portion overlaid.
Yeah, that was pretty. I saw that too.
And she wrote, "Go away, racist settler," something like that.
What a sicko!
She's not a nice gal sometimes. At the same time, she's a kind of. Is there something like a frenemy, but like a sick frenemy? You know,
she's not a frenemy. It's really a relationship of convenience for both of us. So I don't know if any of you here, the truth is I know that a lot of our listeners are on Twitter. Because every once in a while I see people like send me hashtags from the show. You know, you say hashtag this or that, so they send it to me. But she's on Twitter, and I remember when she was at like 4,000 followers, and now she's at like 15,000. I don't know, something big. She's grown really big. Yeah, as an seriously anti-Israel person who is ostensibly, according to her claims, also Jewish and. I think
loves
did she
Hanukkah
say? Yeah,
and
and
stuff,
she's
but then goes to Iran.
Oh my gosh!
And
and
supports
she's
the
like,
regime
and she calls settlers like racist pigs and like all these things. I don't know if she used the word pig.
No,
but she's like, she just has the worst things to say always about Jews who are
not just that, about Israel in general.
Right? She's very, and very vociferous and angry in her like hatred toward Israel,
but with a ability to laugh, meaning to say it's not like a lot of F-bombs and stuff like that. Like she does it with a certain
okay.
Let me
she minimally sort of pretends to use a lot of like LOLs and little laugh cry emojis and stuff like that. But in real, like in theory, she and I would have blocked each other a long time ago. Right. She does not want to hear what I have to say.
Right.
I really don't want to hear what she has to say. But there's a certain interesting way in which both of us are able to play off of each other and sort of achieve the goals of putting our message out through each other in a way that makes neither of us want to block the other one.
Right.
So
by the way, I don't block people unless they're like a real hater. Most of the time, I just mute them. I just mute the people. Like I don't.
Right. I don't really block people so much either, unless they're very, very
people that are really, really
aggressive
mean and not fun. I just mute them. I don't know. I just like.
Sometimes I think to myself, like, I just don't want, like, I don't need you, and bye bye.
But sometimes it's like Jewish people or whatever it is that are not.
To yourself, maybe they'll see something.
And I also don't want to give them the he blocked me, he can't take my message. I'm just like more like talk to the hand, keep talking. I just can't hear you. You're like a monkey in the zoo. Go ahead, keep talking, but I just don't hear you. So I just mute people. That's
interesting.
That's my.
So today I had this weird experience on Twitter where I oftentimes like make little comments to the insane things that Ariel Gold has to say. So today out of nowhere, she retweeted one of my littlest responses to her. And she was like, Malkah is possibly my biggest troll. And she like uses me to like to grow her own relevance or something like that.
To be more relevant, right.
So I thought that was funny, right? Because like of all people in the conversation about Israel, if one of us is relevant and the other is not, I would be the relevant one and she would not, right? She lives in America. She has nothing to do with us. In theory, I would be the relevant one.
Okay, but she can argue you're she can argue that she's talking what American Jews want to hear. Whatever it is.
That's just absolutely not true.
Look, she's in the If Not Now crowd, in the J Street crowd. There's a lot of people. The Peace Now crowd.
She's beyond those people.
I know, but that's the thing about extremists, is that they actually pull the center towards them. And that's her, in a sense, she's successful like that. In any case, you retweeted, you saw that tweet where she called you her number one troll.
Number one troll. And I was like, I can't believe I've won. It's such an honor.
You wrote
and
this
I made a joke because I just thought it was funny. Anyway.
Wait, your tweet said something like it's such an honor. I'm just an honor to be nominated. I want to thank my husband Yishai. And you wrote this whole funny.
Yeah, I wrote like a funny reply just because it was like so silly that she thinks I'm her number one, like I'm her troll, whatever. It set off like 9 hours worth of conversations and replies and likes and shares of this tweet and whole conversations amongst dozens and dozens of people.
Right.
And I got like I don't know, 70 new followers today,
Right.
which is ironic, right? And kind of funny because she, in theory, wants to totally repress my message and anything, and me probably personally. But she really helped me today.
Thanks, Ariel Gold,
Thanks,
for making
Ariel
us
Gold.
more relevant.
Yeah, she really helped me become more relevant today.
That's right.
Thank you, Ariel Gold.
I made a joke, but nobody thought it was funny at all. Your joke was
Your
like,
goal, because my joke was simple. Your joke was complex.
well, she was.
so people had to like read and think, but they didn't have time.
Well,
for that
she was shopping around for Hanukkah stuff. She was in Target, and then she saw like this Hanukkah mousse, which, by the way, if I'm
what?
gonna,
Why a Hanukkah mousse, by the way?
because it's got the horns, and the horns have a menorah
That's
on
cute.
them.
All right.
Yeah. When I'm if I'm in America,
I would like a Hanukkah mousse now.
Yeah,
now I've been
Hanukkah mousse.
converted.
Hashtag Hanukkah mousse, everybody. Okay, Hanukkah mousse. If you heard this show, all you have to do is send hashtag Hanukkah mousse, and we'll know, you'll know, we'll all be in it. I wrote, so she's like, I don't know what does that make me if I'm thinking about Hanukkah? I'm already thinking about almost bought this Hanukkah mousse, and I'm like, you love Hanukkah. And this is a very, 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 very strongly left person, like ultra, ultra, ultra left. And I'm like, you love Hanukkah because you appreciate that the Jews were intolerant to the Greco-Roman lifestyle, and the Maccabees defeated the Greco-Roman lifestyle, and also evicted our enemies from the land.
Yeah. Which was obviously not true.
Which is no, but the point that I was trying to make, which is I could see how not funny was, but I think it was at least, like at least something to be surprised about, which is like, here's a person who is deeply committed to being anti-Israel, yet loves Hanukkah. But what is Hanukkah? P.S. in parentheses, I'm so excited for Hanukkah.
Are you?
I love Hanukkah so much. It's really my number 2 holiday. Yeah.
When did that start? It wasn't always like
started,
that.
Yeah, it started like 2-3 years ago, and I started feeling more and more like you know what it was? We're like the Hanukkah candles, and I would feel these like tears well up.
Wow.
And every year, those songs.
Oh yeah, which
and all
one?
The stuff.
Which is the one?
Light one candle for the Maccabee children.
Yeah, sure.
We never had time.
Oh my gosh, wait, little story. One time when Yishai and I were seeing each other, he came over and he played a disc in my disc player. And then he's like, oh, I got to change the disc. Now, my parents had bought me one time for Hanukkah.
Yeah.
They bought me a 10-disc CD player, which was totally, totally awesome, with a great 2-tape deck.
Yeah, still works.
It's awesome. God bless that thing.
Yep.
Anyway, so you went to change it, and a CD came out, and it was Peter, Paul, and Mary's like holiday classics or something.
Right.
And with and I think you might have pressed play or something. Now, on this disc of Peter, Paul, and Mary songs is like a ton of Christmas songs, which I don't listen to. I skip through.
Right.
And I go to they have two Hanukkah songs, which are amazing.
Yes.
So you play this thing, and it's like some Christmas song, and you turn to me in like slow motion. And you're like, what is this? And I'm like, no. Like, what is this?
That song.
I think you thought that I was some kind of
Right,
missionary there for a
right.
second, but I was not.
What is the
Memory.
that value so highly?
Do you guys know that song,
Come on,
everybody out there?
just-
No, I'm not singing
Just
it.
give me the words.
That we keep alive with that flame.
That we keep alive with that flame. What is the?
Come on, why do you keep pointing at me? You
Come on,
love this
help
song
me.
so much,
What's
you got to know the words.
commitment?
To those who have died.
What does it swear or was
Cry
it?
out.
We cry out. They will not die in vain.
They've not died.
They've
in
not
vain.
died,
Come
right.
on, you got to brush up on your Peter, Paul, and Mary. Such
Oh
a
my-
good song.
We've come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. Right? It's beautiful
start
words.
crying.
No, it's beautiful words, and that the truth is why it's so beautiful, is because that's what Hanukkah is. I think the thing about Hanukkah for me is that it's my mom. It's the sense of, it's the realness of Hanukkah, the history of this small band of brothers who overcame these incredible odds and cleaned up this land. And we're able to get rid of these forces and just defeat huge armies, and just it was so real and so written. It's so we know there are 10 battles. We know everything about them. and their like rise and eventual fall, and it's just so visceral. It's like I could feel it, and that's my mother's gift of feeling history, and that's how I feel about Hanukkah. And I think that's what informs, at least for me, a lot of times informs my relationship to like the Torah and stuff like that, is that you could really feel it. You could really feel Avram. You could really feel these moral challenges and familial challenges, and the walking in this land and talking with God. In any case, we are going to be really in a place this Shabbat where you can really feel it, and that is going to be in Marat Machpelah with 40. Here's a feeling thought. The people that are coming to Hebron this Shabbat, they're the children. They're the great-grandchildren of this original couple. And that's powerful. We're really celebrating it together. So I'm very excited for that. And I want to say that you don't have to be in Hebron this Shabbat in order to feel it. You're going to be there wherever you are. And I'm asking all of our friends, all of our listeners, this Friday night to say L'chaim to the fathers and mothers buried in Hebron, L'chaim to Hebron, L'chaim to the continued Jewish presence of Hebron. That's what I'm asking from everybody. I'm asking for hashtag L'chaim to Hebron, or Hebron L'chaim. That's what I'm asking for. Okay, and I really, not just a hashtag, I want you to raise your glass. Okay? Raise your glass. Okay? To the story, the continuing story of Hebron. Raise your glass not only to them in Hebron where people are celebrating, but to us, all of us who are part of that great story. Malkah Fleisher, I want to thank you so much for being on the show with me.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
Yes, and you.
Keep up the good work. Keep up the Shabbos. Keep up the laughs. That's right. You've already bought. For the Hebron Fund. You're in charge of the liquor.
Yeah, I am the Sarah Mashkim. Sarah
Hamashkim.
That's what Dan Rosenstein asked me to be every year. He's like,
"Will
you be the Sarah Mashkim?"
That's right. All right.
And I bought.
I'm going to say
that's funny. That's a good one.
You're the Sarah Hamashkim.
We bought a lot of liquor, dudes.
You bought a lot of liquor.
Well, that's what I was authorized to do.
But buying the liquor is not everything now. We got to drink
pour it. I bought the little cuppies.
That's right. All right, everybody. L'chaim. And God bless you wherever you are. Stay tuned, stay strong, stay connected, stay part of the story. Write us an email, yishai@thelandofisrael.com. I still owe you to talk about some of the emails that you guys sent out last week. I'm looking forward to talking about them. But in any case, last few weeks. But in any case, God bless you and keep up the good strength out there and be part of this amazing story. Don't let anybody quash you or shrink you. At the end, we're moving light years ahead. Huge steps are happening. Big things. Some things seem stalled and other things are just flying ahead. Pay attention to those things. I give you permission to be wowed. I give you permission to be wowed. I sometimes on a tour bus, I say to people, okay, I give you permission to be wowed. You're allowed to say wow. And then the rest of the tour, I'm like, I point something out. People are like, wow. and people like are joking with me, but they actually do it. They're just like, wow. I'm like, yeah, wow. Wow. So permission to be wowed. And thank you, God, for the permission to live this life of wow.
Yes, amen.
More great stuff is on the way on this amazing station, the Land of Israel Network. Stay tuned, stay strong, stay connected. Lots of love from Judea, from Jerusalem, from Hebron, from the land of blessings. Blessings to you. Shalom.
Shalom.
Prime Minister Netanyahu,
Benny Gantz,
Avigdor Lieberman,
Yair Lapid.
Will the people of Israel have a government soon? Will it be a unity government? Will it be a right-wing government?